Hello everybody and welcome to Renewable English, Cultivating Changemakers, Lesson 2, the Business of Caring. So welcome back everybody. I apologise, I forgot my hat today, so if you get blinded by the shining, glaring back into the camera, I'm sorry. Let's do the usual before we get started. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe, a bell, a like, a share, a comment, whatever you want to do there. And if you feel so inclined, jump on in and feel free to buy us a coffee so we can replenish our mugs. So I mentioned the business of caring, and it's all we're going to be talking about and looking at how somebody has started their own environmentally friendly, sustainable, wonderful business. But we're also going to look at ourselves and how we deal with other businesses. Now, as you may or may not know, the week before last, Alethea went and did a talk up at, in Barcelona at the World Retail Congress, and it had us thinking a lot about how we spend our money and where we spend our money. And I think nobody can say it better than the wonderful Emma Watson. As consumers, we have so much power to change the world just by being careful what we buy. And I think another super important thing there isn't just what we buy, but also specifically what we don't buy. You know, taking that look and not buying those things that perhaps we would usually buy. And hi there, Dolat. Lovely of you to join us. Lovely to see you. So yeah, stopping and thinking about what we're buying, but also realizing what we're not buying and sharing that with people. And saying, do you know what? I don't buy Coca-Cola because they're the world's largest plastic polluter, for example. Not that I'm trying to twist your arm or anything like that. But there are all sorts. And we are going to look now at some companies. I'm going to apologise in advance. I did this lesson at 12 o'clock today as well, so there might be a few things out of order that I didn't put back in place. So let's start not by looking at them, but by looking at these. You may have your worksheet. You may not have your worksheet. Love to India as well, Dolat, sending it right back. If you do not have your worksheet, it's on renewableenglish.com/cultivating changemakers. I will put it in the chat there as well, just to make sure we all have an opportunity. And if you are watching back, that's the place you can go to enjoy previous lessons and grab all the materials there. So I hope you've had a few moments to think about these different companies. Do you recognize them? And more to the point, why do you think they are connected? Do you recognize them? Why are they connected? Sorry, it's very, very warm here in Seville, so I needed to cool down. So you may have written, you may not have written on your worksheets, in your notebook, in the chat, wherever you want to write it, these 4 different companies. Of course, we have Coca-Cola, we have PepsiCo, we have Nestle, and we have Unilever. Why are these connected? Why are these connected? The clue is in the picture. These are 4 of the world's biggest plastic polluters. When plastic counts have been done and checks have been done from people doing litter picks, these are the ones that have been found. Now, who are to blame? Are the companies to blame? Are the people who drop them on the floor to blame? I don't know. But if the plastic wasn't there and wasn't available, then people would not be buying it and using it. This week I had a wonderful talk at my daughter's school with some second graders, and their face when they realised how long a plastic bottle would be around for and how long it was useful for was absolutely incredible to see. So we have A, B, C and D there, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Nestle and Unilever. Let's have a look at these next 4. Who are these different companies? Do you recognize these companies, or are these a bit more hidden, I guess? Not quite as huge as Coca-Cola, but certainly making a much better impact on the planet. Some of them are making a positive impact on the planet. Others are making a minimal negative impact on the planet and trying to use what they are making for good. So Love Before, who are we are going to hear from today, an absolutely incredible stuffed toy adoption agency who also give 50% of their profits to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So if you are thinking of donating today to Renewable English, why not donate instead to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and make somebody's wish come true? B is Patagonia. They also donate a lot to charity and work very hard on creating sustainable materials. Then we've got Pella, who were the first organic phone cover company. There are many more now, but that doesn't cause any plastic waste. And then we have Strudels, who have edible straws. They have edible tableware, all sorts of wonderful things that Maxim has worked on and developed to try and make your parties a bit more palatable. Palatable parties. That could turn into a tongue twister. Good idea, Harry. And then we have Allbirds, which are sustainable shoes. Do check all of these different companies out if you're thinking of getting outdoor clothing, a stuffed toy, a phone cover, edible tableware, or of course, shoes. Now, the last four companies. Let's see if you recognize these last four. How do you spell evil, Harry? Well, I spell it HSBC. Shouldn't be pushing my own opinions on you, but are these four companies evil? They're pretty evil. And what do they have in common? Do you recognize these four companies, these four businesses? We have the first one, HSBC, the Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. We have H&M. We also have a Royal Dutch Shell. And we have Ryanair. The worst air service you will ever receive. It's like a bus, but in the air. And it's horrible. Apparently. I wouldn't know. But what do these four companies have in common? I don't know, Harry. Why didn't you tell me? These four companies are famous for being big polluters, of course, but also covering it up with something we're going to talk about right now, something called greenwashing. Do you know what greenwashing is? Feel free, put it in the chat box, write it on your worksheet, but we're going to have a look at three different definitions. Two of them are true. One of them is not. Remember, greenwashing is a very deep thing. It's not just one type of thing. There are 6 or 7 different areas of greenwashing that are used. So let's have a look now at some of the options. Number 1, is this greenwashing? The act of making false or exaggerated environmental claims about a product, service, or company to appear environmentally responsible. That was obviously product, service. I didn't read the comma. Let's have a look at number 2. A sustainable practice that promotes transparency, accountability while reducing negative environmental impacts. That doesn't sound very washy to me. And then finally, a marketing tactic used to appeal to eco-conscious customers through misleading or incomplete environmental claims. So which definition is not true? Now, I must admit, in the position that I'm in, working for Renewable English, I can be 100% transparent with you here. This is not greenwashing of any way, shape or form. But I do realise that in my other guises, perhaps working for other companies or other foundations, we won't go into who they are exactly, but a lot of them may be using the environmental side of things as a bit of greenwashing to kind of cover up for their partnerships with oil companies and other such mega companies who perhaps don't care about the planet as much as this British government-led organisation maybe like us to believe. But you know what? The message, I hope, is coming across to students and teachers across the world. So hopefully it is a positive outcome as well as somebody trying to cover their tracks. So, of course, the odd one out was number 2. Greenwashing is not a sustainable practice that promotes transparency and accountability while reducing negative environmental impact. It is the exact opposite. It is a marketing tactic to appeal to eco-conscious consumers through misleading or incomplete environmental claims, and it is also the act of making false or exaggerated environmental claims about product, service, or company to appear environmentally responsible. So let's have a look at some prime examples of greenwashing. So let's go first to the first image we had. Here we have HSBC, climate change doesn't know borders. We need to help climate change suffered areas, says HSBC. At the same time, they're investing $37.8 billion into oil companies who are knowingly destroying the planet, who are continuing to do so. They are continuing to invest in these companies, to subsidize these companies so they are able to keep the oil machine going, or to keep the machine well oiled. Hilarious pun, Harry. Thanks very much. Next up, H&M's 100% conscious, 100% organic cotton clothing was not. It was a lie. H&M, you are liars. I know there are other high street fashion stores who are doing other things similar to this. Can high street fashion ever be sustainable? I don't know. It is the only affordable thing, but we need to change our mindsets. I recently saw the executive vice president of Shein, S-H-E-I-N, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, he was claiming with great happiness that his clients said they wore the clothes at least 10 times. How is that a thing? I've worn my underpants more than 10 times this week already. Insane. Ridiculous. Let's have a look at some more greenwashing. This was Shell out there greenwashing when they asked people, what are you willing to change to help reduce emissions? They really asked that. This is a company that for over 50 years has known the damage it is causing to the planet. Shell and BP and other companies, oil companies, invented the idea of our carbon footprint to shift the blame onto the individual, because that way they can say, if billions of individuals did things the right way, everything would be okay. If billions of individuals stopped using oil, then maybe that would happen. But we're not going to, because we do need oil, obviously, at the moment. But they're not even trying to phase it out. And they're still trying to shift the blame. Whereas what we need is radical political change, new policy, many other things that we can all fight for. But we just have to keep our eyes open for greenwashing and companies like Ryanair who just invent these things. Europe's lowest fares, lowest emissions. Do you know what that is? That is a lie. They just invented that. It's like me going, what am I going to invent today? Harry Waters, the world's most handsome man. He doesn't even believe it. He doesn't even think it. But he markets himself as that so other people will believe it. It's just an obvious lie. I'm clearly not the world's most handsome man. There are many. There are at least 2 more handsome people than I am. So why would I even say that? Gabriel from Emily in Paris. I don't know if you've seen that. That guy, insanely attractive. But anyway, let's move on. After seeing these different ideas, I would like to go on to a company that is transparent, that is fantastic, that is green and giving back. They usually, when we have an interview with somebody who is a change maker, who is encouraging change, we cut it down to 3 minutes. I could not do that with this interview. So instead I've gone with 2 parts, 2 individual 3-minute parts. This was one of the most informative interviews I've ever had. So keep your eyes close to this one. Oh, need to get rid of that. Let's stop this first. Here we go. So these are the questions you're going to be answering. If you look at your worksheet, they are there. Don't you worry. But here you go. These are the questions you will be answering. Where does Charlotte come from? What does Charlotte do? What is the soft toy adoption agency called? And what was she doing when she thought of the idea? I'll see you in 3 minutes and you'll be ready with your answers. Welcome back to interview time, and I am so happy to have Charlotte here today. So Charlotte, who are you and what do you do?
Hello, my name's Charlotte. I just turned 27. I live in Bedfordshire, and I am the founder of a kind of one-of-a-kind soft toy adoption agency called Love Before.
Please tell us, what is Love Before?
So, Love Before is based on the premise that there are already enough soft toys in the world to not have to produce another one for at least a very long time, if not kind of forever. And Love Before was created, I suppose, in an attempt to change the way that we think about and that we use soft toys forever. It's about challenging our perception of pre-owned objects and kind of showing that instead of losing value, a toy once loved is actually made even more special and even more important by the love and life that it's already experienced. So basically people, when they're ready to pass them on, they send us their soft toys, their stuffed animals, their teddy bears. They often tell us a little bit about their character or their history, so that gets to live on. They're booked into our spa and they get a little bespoke package of whatever they need, kind of refresh and repair. And then they go on to new adventure sort of all around the world by people who adopt them on.
So I want to know, how did you get this idea? What gave you this idea?
The golden question. So a few years ago, I was actually volunteering in a charity shop, and I begun to notice the amount of soft toys that they were kind of receiving as donations, and sort of realized what a big moment it was for those people handing those things over, and these items which held often great kind of memories and sentimental value. And the process as it was they were kind of being almost thrown onto a pile and often sold as dog toys, or even worse, going straight into the bin. They were often overwhelmed with them, etc. And I kind of thought about how, as you just mentioned, the love and the life and the stories in that moment were lost and forgotten just like that. And I remember going home that night and just having this burning feeling that, as someone who's always loved my own stuffed animals, that something just needed to be done. And I stayed up, I think, all night, and I was scribbling and drawing away and almost covered in post-it notes. I had some on the walls and my face and all sorts. And I had a kind of a bit of an aha moment, I suppose. And I realized that if I could change the perception of these toys as being basically next to rubbish, then I could really make a difference. And that's kind of how Love Before was born.
So there we go. Did you catch where she's from? Charlotte is from Bedfordshire, not far from where I'm from, actually. What does she do? She is the founder and CEO. I've left the door open, so it's echoing really badly. Sorry. She's the founder and CEO of a soft toy adoption agency. And what is it called, everybody? It is called Love Before. Loved Before is the name, and she was volunteering when she came up with the idea. She was volunteering at a charity shop and learning and seeing all of these different teddies coming in, and she just came up with this brilliant idea of giving them a spa and helping them out and moving them on to another family so their love could be shared. Oh, and I just realised that I didn't put the microphone back on for those answers, so I'm going to jump back and just review that she is from Bedfordshire. She is the founder and CEO of Loved Before, and she was volunteering. I hope you heard that time. So let's have a look at part two. Now, this is more of a reflection. I'd like you to watch this and really listen to what Charlotte has to say, and then think about and take this away with you. How do you feel about using the world around you as inspiration? What are your long-term goals, and why would you buy a toy from Love Before? Why or why not? Would you buy a toy from Love Before? Why or why not? That's more of a question. So I'm going to move this away, and please watch and listen carefully to the reason that Charlotte started this, and the reason that she's chosen to make the difference in this way. And she really is making an enormous difference with these wonderful ideas. And as I said, 50% of the profits go to helping Make-A-Wish Foundation, to helping children enjoy something that and have an incredible experience. So I think it's super important we all get involved with this. But just pay close attention to her goal and what the hope, the shift in the paradigm of secondhand, the aim of this, it's really quite beautiful. How can others be inspired to come up with these innovative, eco-friendly business ideas?
I think I've got probably a few thoughts on this. And it starts with the kind of idea phase. And I suppose what I would say is it's really about observing the world. The ideas are really already there. You just have to look through the right glasses, I suppose. I think the most successful businesses are always rooted so strongly in that kind of real human behavior. And I think Love Before works, and it works so strongly because I don't have to sell the feeling and the motivation behind it. People were already crying, handing over their toys. People were already pulling over on the side of the road to rescue these stuffed animals. I just created a platform that kind of supports all of those things. I actually carry a little black book with me wherever I go, because I'm always noticing things around the world that I think, that's an interesting behavior, that could be a business, that's an interesting thing, I'm going to write that down. So I think that would be my first thing, which is find your insight in the real world around you, capture it and leverage it, if that makes sense. Something else I think I'd say is that sustainability, especially nowadays, means so many different things. And I think that sometimes, particularly in a business sense, we get kind of stuck on the short-term box-ticking form of eco, which is turtles in the ocean and plastic bottles recycling and paper straws. And I think those things are great. Don't get me wrong, they're really important and they feed into a much bigger picture. But I think sustainability is also about that kind of long game. You know, Love Before is about reusing toys that we've got. But I hope that in 50 years, the biggest impact that we'll have had is to change the way people kind of, I suppose, feel about, understand and interact with secondhand. And a child that understands through the medium of theirs the value of something once loved can hopefully kind of look upon life and all its aspects in a similar way. So I think that's the second thing, is about looking beyond the kind of obvious and the short-term sustainable, and driving that real long-term impact for future generations.
I think that's the real key with everything we do, sustainability wise, is that change in mindset. And you know, this is more than stuffed toys going to another home. It's much more than that, and it goes so much deeper than that. But that idea of changing the perception of secondhand and you know, reloved, be it clothes, be it electronics, be it, you know, whatever it may be, but you know, making sure we don't need to produce new ones to be able to, you know, enjoy that love and so on and so forth. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the best going forward.
Thanks very much.
And there we have it. Let's hope that she inspired you as much as she inspired us with her ideas there. Charlotte Liebling from Love Before, the wonderful Love Before. Just to check them out, lovebefore.london. Go on there, have a look at some of the incredible stuffed toys that they have on there, with all of that love that they've already had in them. And I talk about it a bit there. Think about other areas that you can go for that are pre-loved. Think about a phone that was pre-loved. The amount of love that people have for their phones. Yes, they delete the memory, but there's still the love there. So, in previous series, Ali would give her tips. But she decided that for this series, she doesn't want to just go with tips. She wants to just go with her thoughts and her ideas. So here we have Ali's thoughts for everything to sum up what we've done today. I wonder what your thoughts are.
Hi, and welcome to Ali's Thoughts. Money doesn't make the world go round. Gravity does. Money is useful, but it's also the root of all evil. So try being kind to others and the planet and let gravity do its job.
And there you go. That, everybody, is just about that in just 27 minutes. So I've given you a whole 3 minutes free today. So I'm going to give you some time to check out where you want to donate, where you want to follow, and where you want to like and subscribe. You know the deal. I'll see you next time.